Constructing Identities in Talk, Discursive Approaches to Race and Migration Part 1. PSY4030 Introduction to Psychology. Social Psychology at BCU. Dr. Sam Parker Samuel.Parker@bcu.ac.uk. Overview. Part 1. Constructing Identities in Conversation. Masculine and feminine identities, national identities. Prejudicial talk. The norm against prejudice. Part 2. My own research looking at how refugees are constructed in talk by the media and politicians. What do I need to read this week? Watch this TED Talk. The Science of Analyzing Conversations, Second by Second. Elizabeth Stocko. https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=Mount OG5 Park 8XDA. Read this article from The Psychologist. Beyond Borders by Nightingale, Goodman and Parker, The Psychologist, 2017. https://fepsychologist.bps.org.uk/volume-30/June-2017/Beyond-Borders. Read this journal article. Goodman, S., and Burke, S. 2010. Oh, you don't want asylum seekers, oh, you're just racist. A discursive analysis of discussions about whether it's racist to oppose asylum seeking. Discourse and Society, 21, 325-340. https://do.org/10.1177% sign 2F0957926509360743. Conversational and Narrative Identities. A different approach to identities. Most approaches to identity in social psychology assume that people have a fixed identity. Experimental and survey approaches to identify these identities. But what about identities in talk? Talk/language often neglected in psychology and used only as a way of getting to inner cognitions. This lecture argues for the importance of analyzing talk itself. What is discursive psychology? Discursive psychology is a theoretical and analytical approach to discourse which treats talk and text as an object of study in itself, and psychological concepts as socially managed and consequential in interaction. Wiggins, 2017, 4p. Discourse equals all forms of talk and text. Concerned with psychology as it is lived by people in everyday life by their practices and social interactions rather than their individual thoughts or experiences. Starts with social practices rather than psychological states. Psychological concepts such as identities, attitudes or categorization are not treated a priori as fact. Instead, the focus is on how this concept is described, invoked and consequential for social interaction. 5p. 6. Core Principles of Discursive Psychology. Discourse is both constructed and constructive. Constructed equals discourse is constructed through a range of cultural resources, words, intonation, gesture and culturally available phrases and expressions. Constructive equals bringing particular versions of reality, particular truths into being. Discourse is situated within a social context. Within a specific interactional context. Within a rhetorical framework. Within the turn-taking sequence of interaction. Discourse is action-orientated. If discourse constructs particular versions of reality, and these constructions are situated in particular social contexts, then there will be particular functions or actions that are accomplished by the discourse. Wiggins, 2017, pp. 8-16. 7. Interpretative repertoires. A recognizable routine of arguments, descriptions and evaluations found in people's talk, often distinguished by familiar clichés, anecdotes and tropes. What everyone knows, Goodman, 2017, p.148. Clark and Kitzinger, 2004, Love Makes a Family repertoire used by gay/lesbian parents by drawing on the common idea that love is important in family, rather than the sexuality of the parents. Seymour Smith et al. 2002, Men Don't Talk About Emotions repertoire, common sense notion used by healthcare professionals to represent male patients. 8. Subject positions. How speakers, and writers, construct themselves and others in discourse. Attention can be paid to the ways in which speakers construct varying identities, and to what end, i.e. identities not seen as fixed or stable. Stockow, 2003, Women drew upon the identity of mother to defend against accusations of being a noisy neighbor. Goodman and Spear, 2007, have shown how there are ongoing arguments about what is meant by the term asylum seeker, as how they are positioned can determine how they should be treated. 9. Constructing a royal identity. Princess Diana interview with Martin Bashir in 1995. One of the most watched TV shows ever. Public fascination with Diana. How does she manage her identity in the interview? How does she position herself? Her true self. Her royal identity. Constructing a royal identity. Princess Diana interview with Martin Bashir in 1995. Abel and Stockow, 2001. Masculine identities. Constructing masculinity in talk. Examples from Love Island. Toxic masculinity. Rejecting toxic masculinity. Jack, every time you fall in love or something, it is a different type of love, and when it ended I was heartbroken, yeah. I was like, brah, what's this pain, man? I was like, what kind of pain is this? Josh, mate, it's bad. Jack, it is nothing physical, it's emotional, it can make you be ill. I didn't eat, I lost weight, I was crying all the time. Paul, it is sort of funny how you notice that every song that comes on the radio is something to do with like a breakup. Jack, aha, mate, it enhances you so much. Jack, diary room reflections. I think especially being a guy, sometimes it is hard to voice how you feel. I have been through heartbreak, I have gone through that, and yeah, it is not nice. So yeah, talking to the others about it was quite refreshing actually, because guys, we don't really do that. Season 4, Episode 49, the 22nd of July 2018. Source, Nichols, 2019. Feminine identities. Constructing and performing femininity in talk. Source, Coates, 1997. Resisting identities. Tommy, Maura, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love sex? Maura, I've only slept with 5 people so. Molly-Mae, what? Lucy, come off it. Maura, I swear on my life. Molly-Mae, you are messing. Maura, hello, I was in a 9-year relationship and a 2-year relationship. How would I have slept with any more? Molly-Mae, Jesus Christ, really? Maura, Jesus, everyone's so shocked. Amy, I thought you would have been a man-eater. Molly-Mae, I thought you would have been in the F******ing numbers, gesturing a high amount, like the numbers. Maura, Jesus, Molly. Molly-Mae, sorry, no disrespect, but like, cause obviously you're so like, you know, sensual and you love it, so I thought maybe the number would be higher than 5, but kudos to you. I'm proud of you, keep those numbers low. Maura, Yeah, I don't do one-night stands. Source: Denby, 2021. Example: conflicting interpretative repertoires about feminism. Source: Edley, N., and Wetherill, M. 2001. Jekyll and Hyde, Men's Constructions of Feminism and Feminists. Feminism and Psychology, 11, 4, 439457. Example: conflicting interpretative repertoires about feminism. Source: Edley, N., and Wetherill, M. 2001. Jekyll and Hyde, Men's Constructions of Feminism and Feminists. Feminism and Psychology, 11, 4, 439457. Discursive Psychology and Prejudice. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Criticism of traditional, cognitive, approaches to prejudice unable to account for the variation within people's talk about race. The Norm Against Prejudice, Billig, 1988, attempting to deny what is being said is prejudicial whilst stating what can be considered to be prejudicial arguments. I'm not racist, but a culturally held value that people attempt to maintain by denying that they are prejudiced when they may be viewed as such. Discursive psychologists have shown that speakers attempt to deny they are prejudiced through the use of disclaimers. Disclaimer equals phrases used by people to disassociate themselves from potentially negative connotations of what follows. For example, I'm not racist, but. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Van Dijk, 1993, the taboo against being racist is so far-reaching that accusing someone of being racist is itself problematic. Too extreme an accusation for what he describes as modern or moderate racism, 1993, p. 180. The term racism is seen to apply only to overt right-wing racism, or to racism abroad, while the terms discrimination, resentment or xenophobia are used to describe various manifestations of such everyday racism, 1993, p. 180. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Goodman, 2010. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Goodman, 2010. Analysis of publicly available material in run-up to UK general election in 2005. Immigration and asylum key issues at this time. 30 hours of taped television debate programs, news items, speeches, interviews and documentaries about asylum seeking. Analyzed using DP. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. 1. It is about time that someone spoke up for the majority of people in 2. this country who are genuinely worried about the impact of 3. immigration on the very fabric of our sick society. 4. Too long, anyone 4. who dared challenge the immigration system was shouted down as a 5. racist, but it isn't about racism, it is about protecting the way of life of 6. this country, and providing a safe future for our children. After all, it is 7. our children that the future is all about. He has now got my vote. 8. Richard Dixon, Hertz, UK. From Goodman, 2010. Have your say. Howard's Asylum Plans, Your Views. BBC, the 26th of January, 2005. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Direct accusations of racism rare in this corpus of data, due to the rhetorical strategy employed by those arguing against asylum, who are critical of such accusations. Taboo on making direct accusations of racism presented delicately, for example through disclaimers, and achieved by associating accusations of racism with censorship. Strategy of criticizing accusations is used alongside traditional disclaimers. Rather than racism, a number of purportedly non-prejudicial reasons are used to oppose asylum, such as culture and drugs and pedophilia. those defending asylum must defend their position as being one that does not resort to accusations of racism. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Goodman and Burke, 2010. Analysis of focus groups with 16 university students about asylum. Question: is it racist to oppose asylum seeking? Focus on the use of the word just in structure of discourses. 1. Employed to align with the cultural norm of the taboo against prejudice. 2. To support the idea that it is the taboo against prejudice that is the problem, prevents free speech and glosses over purportedly reasonable, non-racist, opposition to asylum. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. 1.3p. Dunno I suppose 0.3, maybe it depends on why you oppose it. 2 So much. 3sg, okay. 4.3p, if it's just like. 1.8, racism's like cause people. 1.0, how people look isn't. 5 it. 6sg, re, ght. 7.3p, it's we, there they were, normal, laughing. 8sg, okay. 9.3p, 0.8, if it was just because of that then that. 1.0, you could. 10 understand that, being racist but. 1.5, if they were a muadrayu. 11 couldn't say hh. Oh it's racist. 0.3, you, db like no it's cause. 12sg, right. 13.3p, you're crazy. Goodman and Burke, 2010, p.330. Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Burke and Goodman, 2011. Analysis of comments in 6 Facebook groups. I refuse to hate asylum seekers. Stop illegal immigrants entering our country and taking our jobs. Stop the asylum seekers coming to the UK. I'm not racist, just concerned about mass immigration. If you don't like our country, go somewhere else. Who's sick of asylum seekers? Discursive Psychology of Prejudice. Burke and Goodman, 2011. 3 strategies identified. People supporting asylum seeking accuse asylum opponents of being racist by referring to Nazis. Opponents of asylum seeking deal with such accusations by arguing that the debate is being suppressed because of references to Nazis. Opponents of asylum draw upon ideas associated with the Nazis and Hitler to bring about their anti-asylum position. Discursive deracialization. Discursive deracialization equals the removal of race from potentially racially motivated arguments. Instead of presenting opposition to outgroups as in any way prejudicial, speakers present alternative explanations that draw upon reasonableness to explain their opposition. For example, economic, crime, religious, integration reasons. Augustinos and Every, 2007. Discursive deracialization may explain the increase in talk about nationality, rather than race, in anti-immigration and asylum arguments. Discursive deracialization. Goodman and Burke, 2011. Data from focus groups with university students where focus is on how participants construct discursively deracialized and reasonable explanations for opposing asylum seekers when asked if it is racist to oppose asylum seeking. Opposition found to be based on economic grounds, religious grounds and the associated threat of terrorism. The lack of asylum seekers' ability to integrate into British society. Discursive deracialization. 1-2p, sorry I was gonna say due to the fact that all the rest of S in 8 the sense, that in the sense that it's all basic, on, 0.4, based around, 0.8, the whole. 11 financial bit of it. 12 SG, yeah. 13 2p, equals then, I suppose that's not really being racist, you, just saying. 14 SG, okay happy smiley. 15 2p, you know, they're living off us. Goodman and Burke, 2011. Discursive deracialization. 1 3p, I think it's mainly to do with integration which, does link with the 2 4p, equals yeah. 3 3p, equals religion, 0.4, being integrated in society if it's, hh separate. 4 sg, right. 5 3p, everything's separate, and then it seems like you're just, coming in, 6 doing your own thing taking our job s, taking, hh like hhl even. 7, some, might even think oh you know taking our women kind of things. 8 some, men, might say yth, at you never know, laughs, 0.7. 9 sg, right. 10, yeah I can. 11 3p, or whatever, 0.7, so, 0.8, I dunno they might come and, 0.7, think, I. 12 think that's what it is integration, my nly, they're not integrate d. Goodman and Burke, 2011. Political Talk. Capdevila and Callahan, 2008. Analysis of speech on immigration by Michael Howard, then Conservative Party leader. A political speech is a particular type of text. It is not naturally occurring. A crafted piece of rhetoric. Input into the speech may come from numerous sources and resources. Put together for a specific purpose. One people want a government that upholds the rules, not one that turns a blind eye when they are abused. And that applies as much to immigration as to crime. So we have a plan to limit immigration, to take control of our borders. Today, our immigration system is out of control. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it, including the terrorists and people smugglers who make a mockery of Britain's hospitality. 3 In tomorrow's Britain, in conservative Britain, immigration will be controlled and strictly limited. 4 Some people say that's racist. It's not. It's common sense. 5 I believe in controlled immigration for the most personal of reasons. I am the child of immigrants. As my parents always told me, Britain is the best country in the world. And one of the things, which make Britain so great, is our sense of fair play. We are a tolerant, generous, welcoming people with a profoundly compassionate nature. 6 We believe in immigration, in offering a home to people who want to work hard and make a positive contribution to our society. And we accept our moral responsibility to those fleeing persecution. 7 But all these virtues are threatened by an immigration system which is now out of control, which is undermining good community relations, placing an ever-increasing burden on our public services and threatens our very security. 8 We face a real terrorist threat in Britain today, a threat to our way of life, to our liberties. But we have absolutely no idea who is coming into or leaving our country. There are 250,000 failed asylum seekers living in our country today. No one knows who they are or where they are. 9 To defeat the terrorist threat we need action, not talk, action to secure our borders. 10 So we have a plan to control immigration. Parliament will set an annual limit on the number of people that can settle in Britain. We will impose 24-hour security at our ports so that we get to grips with illegal immigration and the terrorists who exploit it. And we will insist on health checks for people who want to settle here. It's our National Health Service, not a World Health Service. Capdevila and Callaghan, 2008. 1. Elaborating Britishness. Howard's stance on immigration is carefully framed as a positive feature of Britishness. Controlled immigration equals idea rooted in core British values of fair play, tolerance, generosity and hospitality which reflect a profoundly compassionate nature. 5. Failure to take control of our borders, 1, and turning a blind eye, 1, portrayed as irresponsible and un-British. Paragraphs 5 and 6. British people positioned as kindly hosts to guests who are abusing their generosity. Distancing from the possibility of accusations of racism. Reasonableness, common sense. Only the right kinds of people, people like us, should be permitted to share our home, and failure to adequately defend our borders leaves us exposed to threats from within, threats to both our way of life, 8, and our lives, 7, 9p. Capdevila and Callaghan, 2008. 2. Fantasizing the other. Categorization. A category of people positioned as the other. Good immigrants contrasted with these others. Failed asylum seekers, 8. Illegal immigrants, 10. A threat to the British way of life, 8. A threat to British lives, 7. Through their ill health, 10. Or association with criminality, 1. Good immigrants constructed as hard-working people like us, shared moral sense and shared cultural identity. I am the child of immigrants. 5. Legitimacy to speak on issues of immigration. Declarations of pride deployed as counter-narratives to the perceived accusation of Britishness as racist. The speech therefore conjures up notions of those who are not like us and, thus, pose a danger to the British way of life. 11p. Capdevila and Callaghan, 2008. 3. Conspicuous absences. The issue of race is explicitly omitted from the speech. Child of immigrants operates as an inoculation against suggestions of racism. Conflation of immigration and crime never explicitly named, never directly addressed, nonetheless the specter of the dangerous, threatening immigrant is introduced through a range of associative links forged in the speech. 12p. In Part 2. My own research looking at talk about and by refugees and asylum seekers. How do the media talk about refugees and asylum seekers and what does this achieve? How do refugees and asylum seekers themselves talk about life in the UK? References. Abel, J., and Stocco, E.H. 2001. Broadcasting the Royal Role, Constructing Culturally Situated Identities in the Princess Diana Panorama Interview. British Journal of Social Psychology, 43, 417-435. Augustinos, M., and Every, D. 2007. The Language of Race and Prejudice, A Discourse of Denial, Reason, and Liberal Practical Politics. Journal of Language and Social Psychology, 26, 2, 123-141. Billig, M. 1988. The Notion of Prejudice, Some Rhetorical and Ideological Aspects. Text Interdisciplinary Journal for the Study of Discourse, 8, 1-2, 91-110. Capdevila, R., and Callaghan, J.E. 2008. It's not racist. It's common sense. A critical analysis of political discourse around asylum and immigration in the UK. Journal of Community and Applied Social Psychology, 18, 1-16. Clark, V., and Kitzinger, C. 2004. Lesbian and Gay Parents on Talk Shows, Resistance or Collusion in Heterosexism. Qualitative Research in Psychology, 1, 3, 195 to 217. Coates, J. 1997. Women's Friendships, Women's Talk. Gender and Discourse. Denby, A. 2021. Toxicity and Femininity in Love Island, How Reality Dating Shows Perpetuate Sexist Attitudes Towards Women. Frontiers in Sociology, 6. Edley, N., and Wetherill, M. 2001. Jekyll and Hyde, Men's Constructions of Feminism and Feminists. Feminism and Psychology, 11, 4, 439457. Goodman, S. 2010. It's Not Racist to Impose Limits on Immigration, Constructing the Boundaries of Racism in the Asylum and Immigration Debate. Critical Approaches to Discourse Analysis Across Disciplines, 4, 1, 1-17. References. Goodman, S., and Burke, S. 2010. Oh, You Don't Want Asylum Seekers, Oh, You're Just Racist, a discursive analysis of discussions about whether it's racist to oppose asylum seeking. Discourse and Society, 21, 3, 325-340. Goodman, S., and Burke, S. 2011. Discursive Deracialization in Talk About Asylum Seeking. Journal of Community and Applied Social Psychology, 21, 2, 111-123. Goodman, S., and Spear, S. 2007. Category Use in the Construction of Asylum Seekers. Critical Discourse Studies, 4, 2, 165-185. Nichols, K. 2019. Learning from Love Island. Diversification of the Hegemonic Man. Frontiers in Sociology, 4, 72. Seymour Smith, S., Wetherill, M., and Phoenix, A. 2002. My Wife Ordered Me to Come, a discursive analysis of doctors' and nurses' accounts of men's use of general practitioners. Journal of Health Psychology, 7, 3, 253-267. Stocko, E. H. 2003. Mothers, Single Women and Sluts, Gender, Morality and Membership Categorization in Neighbor Disputes. Feminism and Psychology, 13, 3, 317-344. Van Dijck, Tia. 1993. Stories and Racism. Narrative and Social Control, Critical Perspectives, 21, 121-142. Wiggins, S. 2017. Discursive Psychology, Theory, Method and Applications. Sage,